In all my time playing D&D, I've noticed one main thing that a lot of DMs struggle with, and that is their villain. Coming up with someone that has evil intentions but is still a well-rounded character with motivations and flaws. A lot of the time you end up with cartoonish mustache twisters that just aren't very interesting. It's very important to make a villain that can drive a campaign, not just to give the players something to fight, but to flavor the world around them. Why is your villain like this? Who hurt them or turned them down the path to evil? It's time to take a journey into darkness.
Are you ready to get evil? Yes, this is perfect!
The Book of Vile Darkness is a supplemental source book for the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop RPG. Published in October of 2002 by Wizards of the Coast to mostly positive reviews, it was called the most player-requested book to date by the company itself. It was declared to be the first book intended for mature audiences only, and the first few printings even had a sticker on the cover declaring this.
Dungeons & Dragons has been called the most effective introduction to the occult in the history of man.
When asked what the book's content actually contained, the company was actually very tight-lipped about it, saying only that it would contain the nature of evil.
Evil!
Evil?
Evil?
After several months of advertising online and around game shops, it was released to an eager gaming public. What they got was dark indeed. This book is classified as a DM's tool. That is, there's no reason to let your players see it, and there's honestly nothing for them in this book that a heroic character would need. This is one of the only D&D books that focuses purely on the evil side of things, so it's very much a campaign building tool, sort of like a splat book, but for DMs only. So, in a very short couple of sentences, what's actually in this book? Well, each section pertains to a different portion of the game. There's a chapter devoted to the nature of evil and variant rules. There's evil equipment, feats, and magic. And there's also 18 evil prestige classes for those of you that like to take your time and really build your campaign antagonists.
You look glorious, Lord.
I know.
It also comes with a smattering of monsters and the High Lords of Evil. Entire sections of this book are devoted to defining evil in all its various acts and forms. It includes laundry lists of broad categories including lying, theft, betrayal, murder, all the usual suspects. It goes into depth about devil worship, evil rituals, and creating evil creatures. There are paragraphs devoted to cannibalism, rape, drug addiction, and so on. This is basically everything the Bible thumpers from the 1970s and 80s were afraid was going on in your D&D games.
I just took stuff from Dungeons and Dragons and used it as reality. I started liking the power, to it that it gave me as I was killing things, killing people, animals. The more I played Dungeons and Dragons, and the more I got involved in Satanism.
And it's not that the book condones it. The author even has a side note that says it does not, but it's not squeamish about going into detail about every single sin and evil thing in its pages. The book gives tables and charts on the benefits of ritual sacrifice, dark ceremonies, and gifts given by the darker powers through those ceremonies. This is not the sort of book you want to be seen reading, or even have on your bookshelf in case of the random passerby who wonders why you have something called the Book of Vile Darkness. There are pages of evil feats that only evil characters can have. Look at this one, Lich Loved. By repeatedly committing perverted sex acts with the undead, the character gains dread powers. Ew. The prestige classes are no less evil, with things like the Soul Eater, the Thrall of Grazit, or the Vermin Lord. Each of them come with nasty special abilities that stack damage, rend your soul instead of your body, or spread uncurable diseases. These are classes that you would want to use for endgame bosses or epic level campaigns. There's not a lot of wiggle room to go easy on a party of adventurers in these pages. Sort of like in a zombie movie where one scratch can kill you. There are things like that in here. It's very unforgiving.
You're all going to die down here.
The spells section is especially nasty, as it details how to summon demons, rip people apart, corrupt your body in any number of ways, and negatively affect the magic of others. There's really no holds barred in this section, as magic is where the content can be the most creative. Rapture of Rupture, for example, literally makes body parts explode, dealing a ton of damage and requiring a saving throw. If they fail, they keep exploding every round for an extra d6 of damage until they get magical healing. It's pretty fucking brutal.
Oh, that's brutal.
Remember earlier when I mentioned that we had stats for the devil? Well, here he is. In the ninth circle of hell sits Asmodeus, the overlord of the Dukes of Hell. And here are his stats. Take a good, long look. That's not including his magic, his challenge rating 22 elite servants, and all of his other special abilities. He's titanic. I really don't see the point in statting a creature like this, to be honest. While he's not a god, he's pretty damn close in terms of stats. Even the most broken, rule-breaking power gamers would have a run for their money with this guy, and that's already assuming that they're in an epic level style campaign. A thing of interest about this book is that Monty Cook seems to be under the impression that all evil is ugly. This book is packed full of nasty undead, devils, clawed monstrosities, and so on. But where are all the evil sylphs, the wicked fae, not to mention demons that might use their good looks for charming others and getting their way?
Yes, my lord.
This is not a Disney movie. The bad guys are not always going to be evil, covered in sores and disease. Young or old, ugly or beautiful, evil really doesn't stick to a spectrum. It can look like whatever it wants. It's evil. The use of good looks and charm is a very basic tool that evil can make use of, but I'm hard-pressed to find even one attractive person or creature in this book. It's very odd. Speaking of good-looking charm, I do notice the stark absence of the succubus in this book as well. Yeah, she's in other books, but so is some of the other stuff in this book. Sex, seduction, rape, and the like are only very briefly touched upon in this book, which is a little puzzling. It's certainly not squeamish about all the torture, poisons, and other things that are involved with this sort of content. The feminine wiles of the succubus can be a powerful agent for evil, and any rapist is certainly a very basic form of evil. I'm not saying that rape needs a chart or a stat block, but rapists and creatures like the succubus are one of the basic evils that you might encounter in D&D. It's very strange to see it missing entirely from a book like this. The Book of Vile Darkness, despite all its interesting content, should be used sparingly in any game. To rely on it heavily is not only increasing the workload for the DM, but can drastically increase the chance of death for the players. Use one monster, not many. Make one leading bad guy, not 5. Use 1 or 2 of these death-dealing spells. Don't fill an entire sorcerer's roster with them. Everything in here is designed to kill, hamper, and otherwise sicken the stomach of any hero that runs across its user. Even a power gamer might last a little longer, but with all the diseases, drugs, and demons running around in this book's pages, even that sort of player would quickly fall. Use this book's content sparingly, like spices in a soup. Hi guys, T here. Remember to hit that like button for me on your way out. If you'd like to see artwork and maps from my gaming table, check out the D&D Stories Facebook page. Also, I have a Patreon if you'd like to toss a few gold pieces into your humble bard's hat. Links in the description below. Keep gaming!